Today on Combustion Chamber, we have our very first BMW on the show. Is it some M-Series, carbon fiber, touchscreen, fuel-injected jibba-jabba? Nope, it is this classic 1958 Isetta. Let's get after it. Welcome back to Combustion Chamber. Before we get started with this episode, we want to highlight our featured fan for this episode, and it is Ruben, all the way down in Brazil. My man, thank you so much for always sharing the episodes and liking and commenting, man. You really support the show. I'm really grateful, and this episode is for you. Now let's go check out this car. Richard, thank you very much for being on the show today. We appreciate it.
Nice seeing you, Casey.
What led you to get this unique car?
Well, actually, my father-in-law found it in a horse barn where it had been stored since 1967. He was a car collector out of Arizona, and he got ill, and he was just unloading all his cars at a cheap price, and I said, boy, don't give that car away. So wife and I flew up there, built a wooden box and threw it on a truck and shipped it back here to Florida. We took it apart, every nut, bolt, wire, and sandblasted, polished, and everything in the garage for about 3 years. He passed before we got it done. But her mom she's tickled to death. Whenever she comes back here, she takes a ride in it and should see the smile on her face, you know?
I think it's cool that you took the time to restore this car like you have, because it is beautiful. But what kind of power is in this?
Well, now, it's not a Lamborghini, 13 horsepower, 14 pounds of torque, one cylinder, actually an old BMW motorcycle motor. BMW bought it from an Italian company called Iso. He was actually a refrigerator maker. And that's the reason the door opens the way it is.
Well, what is it like to drive this car, especially with the interior laid out in the unique way that it is?
It's great in the city, let's put it that way. You go up to about 45 and then it's wound out pretty good. I grew up with the shifters always on the right, and you got first, second, third, fourth. It's totally backwards. First is where our normal fourth is in most American cars. That's probably the hardest thing to get used to.
Well, why don't you say we get this car on the road?
That sounds great. I'd love to.
So what kind of reaction do you get when you take this out to shows?
It's actually pretty amazing. The crowds it gets around it. The kids love it. One thing that happens a lot, you'd be surprised how many people come up and say, I had that car when I was 16. I've had people from Germany, a lot of people from Germany come up to me and say, well, I grew up with that car. You know, and here I never seen one until I purchased this one. You're starting to see a lot of your hard tops. The convertible, the Cabrio is a lot rarer. There's only a few of them I know registered in the U.S.
Well, you were telling me that the hardtop even comes with this up here, this escape hatch.
Correct, yeah, it's actually, you know, everybody thinks this is just a sunroof, but it's an escape hatch because the designer, if you was to bump something with this front end, you can't get out. The only door is in the front. You can't get out these windows. So that's your hatch to get out. So even the hardtops have these. Elvis is known for his pink Cadillacs he would give to his mother and everybody else. Yeah. But he actually wrote a story one day saying that his Isetta was his favorite car of all.
When I first saw this car and started driving it, it took a little getting used to. But once you get the hang of this, it's easy. You just have to remind yourself that the shifter's over here. Driving this Isetta today was really, really awesome. This is such a unique car, and it comes from one of my favorite eras of cars, the post-war era, where you had all these new car companies popping up and established car companies that were making really unique and kind of out there rides. It was a little tricky for me to drive at the beginning with the stick shift on this side and in a different pattern, but I loved it, and this car is surprisingly easy to get in and out of, even easier than some of the exotics that I've driven. What did you think about this Isetta? Do you have one or are you looking for one? Let us know in the comments section below. And if you like this episode, give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and for more Combustion Chamber, hit that subscribe button. We always say hit that subscribe button, but don't forget to hit that bell icon on YouTube for instant notifications when we go live with new episodes. And if you want to support us, check us out on Patreon for behind the scenes news and exclusive content. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. The links for all of that are right below.